Hello everybody, and welcome back to another stream today. Sorry this one's really quiet. I wasn't expecting it to be quiet. I was expecting there to be some kind of music, but hey, it's a quiet game today, which kind of falls in line with what we're going to experience today. We are playing Narcissu, which is a visual novel about life and death and people in the trauma ward and people with terminal illnesses, things like that. So it's going to be a very sad, somber kind of visual novel that we're experiencing today. But I think it's important to talk about these things. And I think it's, when it's done beautifully, which this game has high recommendations, when it's done beautifully, it can be a really help to the community of people who are a part of those things, like terminal illnesses and stuff like that. So yeah, but first, before we get any further, sorry about the warning, but I think it's important to warn you guys what we're walking into today. But first, let me say, hi, my name is Princess Evillan. I'm a streamer here on Twitch, and I post almost everything I do here on the channel. All of it gets uploaded to youtube.com/@princessevillanvods. Evillan is how you spell Evelyn, in case you didn't know. But yeah, there's a lot of things to see on the VODs channel. We've had long series done on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and on Fridays we do visual novels. So go check out the VODs channel. There's lots to see, there's lots to experience. I've played quite a few games in the last year, so yeah, go explore that if you're interested in finding more content about me. And if you're watching this content in the future on the VODs channel, hi, come join us on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/princessevillan. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Friday being our visual novel Friday. Sometimes I do Saturdays. I call them surprise Saturdays because they're a surprise to everyone, including me. But sometimes I sit down on a Saturday and I'm like, man, I really want to stream. So they're just kind of not all the time streams. I stream specifically on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, though, so you can always catch that. But if you miss a surprise Saturday or you miss content from one of the other days, go check the VODs channel. It should be out very soon. The video, that is, not the VODs channel. But the videos go out a couple weeks apart from when we stream. So if you're looking for the first part of a game that we're playing on stream, you can go check out the VODs channel and find it there. But yeah, so let's jump into our game of today, Narcissu, which is opening up in a lovely, what is this, 4x3? Yeah, there's no music, which I think is weird, but there's sound. Like, you can hear that, right? Let me turn off the echo. You can hear that, right? So there's sound. I'm a little worried how loud it's going to be, actually. We'll see. No. So we'll start with Narcissu the first. I have not played this game. Oh, wow. Ever since I was a child, I wasn't on the healthy side. Is it too loud? Oops. Let's turn it down a little bit. There we go. June, soon after entering middle school. The day after we ordered swimsuits for the swimming class that would start next month. That time was the first time I experienced being admitted into a hospital. Just a little before the first semester midterms, a day where the rain started to fall felt awfully cold. In the midst of that pure white sky of the rainy season, in the beginning, everyone in the class came to visit me each day. When I was discharged from the hospital during the weekends, they would come to my house to play. But that was just in the beginning. Fall came, winter left. Hospitalized, discharged, outpatient care, and then starting again with hospitalization. Classmates who were once called friends at some point became acquaintances, and then turned to strangers. With each turning of the seasons, it seems that I was disappearing from their memories. That's really sad.
いい気がしないらしい。
It looks like it makes them uncomfortable.
普通に生きている人にとって
For those who live
私の存在
normally,
ってのは
my very existence.
だから消されたようだった。
That's why I seem to have been erased.
いくつもの季節
Numerous
広い梅雨空を
seasons. White
誰とも
overcast
言葉を交わ
skies.
す必要もなく過ごした。
Oops, wrong button. There we go. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone.
私の英語の教科書は1年生の中間テスト以降
My English
さらな
textbook
状態だった。
from my first year midterms onwards remained brand new.
そこで
It was there
私の時間も止まったらしい。
that my time seems to have stopped. Early summer 2004. 8 years later. Summer, flowing sweat. In the driver's license examination area, there was a large electronic bulletin board installed. All at once, the lights came on. Like everyone else there, I searched for my own number. 237, 237. Scanning among the mostly lit light panel, I found my own examination number. Gafunk, gafunk. Because it was just past midday, the train car was quite empty. And in that empty car, I was on the way home from the examination center. In my left hand was the traffic regulations manual I had just received. In my shirt pocket was the brand new license. Oh yay, she passed. With this, I'm also normally licensed, eh? I murmured somewhat seriously, but didn't feel any particular strong emotion. It's not like I wanted to drive cars, nor did I really have another purpose in mind. It was just people around me were going to the training center, and they recommended that I at least get a driver's license. That night, when I reported to my parents that I'd gotten my license, "Oh sure," was the short reply. As an experiment, I tried asking to borrow the car, and just as shortly came a "you can't." It wasn't like I had wanted to drive the car, but the responses were exactly what I had imagined. They were those sorts of parents. The next day, upon waking up, my chest hurt, so I was taken to the hospital. I need a drink, hold on. Normally, I had little to do with sickness. That was why waiting in the initial waiting room felt extremely boring. Finally, just when I thought the examination was over, this time I went to take x-rays and blood tests, was made to go. On top of that, for a long, long time, I was made to wait in boredom. Without noticing, I finished reading 3 books of Jump manga in the waiting room and was reading a 4th. And just like that, I was made to do the paperwork for being admitted into the hospital. The brand new driver license lay still in my shirt pocket. It looked like the time for its debut was far off. Protagonist, 2004, autumn. So now we're past summer and we're into autumn now. It's the same year. Around when those very noisy cicadas had stopped crying. As usual, I was in the hospital. Of course, it wasn't like I was always admitted in the hospital. I would be in and out. Last month, I had my first experience with surgery. After being discharged, I commuted 5 minutes for outpatient care by scooter. Hey, Bunny Bun. Thanks for joining. And even then on, admitted, discharged, outpatient care, gradually moving to being admitted again. I didn't know anything about PET or ERASA, but I noticed through the comings and goings that a number of months had passed. In exchange of my decreasing appetite, the types and amounts of drugs increased. Even I could see with my own eyes that my strength was declining. My legs felt a bit thin, but that's not your imagination, the needle on the scale would tell me. And yet, I was looking at myself somehow objectively, as if watching a stranger, like looking at a single scene on television. The sudden things that happened to my body, my head couldn't keep up with them. the feeling that what was happening was real didn't arise. And so, even though it was supposed to be my own body, I could only watch myself from afar with cold eyes. Now it's winter. He's getting sicker. A winter day, around when Christmas trees were disappearing from the streets. Perhaps it was the end of the year, but I was allowed to return home. In the end, it seemed to be only temporary, but even then, I was a bit happy. In a mix of rain and sleet, I returned home for the first time in a while. For some reason, everyone in the family was gathered. Even though my parents normally didn't speak much, while being a bit stiff, they smiled at me. The little sister, who I always argued with, made my new favorite cream stew and fried shrimp. Ooh, that sounds good. We sat next to each other in the kotatsu. They peeled mandarins for me. They were excessively kind. That made an impression. During this time, I had just a bit of realization. Still left in the pocket, that brand new license. That license, without giving rise to any practical value, might expire. While having stiff, unnatural smiles directed at me. Calmly, vaguely, rather simply, I thought of that, as if thinking of someone else. It's January now. So, like, his family knows that it's terminal, and I don't think our character has accepted it yet. They seem to have a kind of suspicion of it, but it doesn't look like they're ready to face it yet. But their body is slowly becoming different than what they've been used to, and it's only been a couple months. Because really, it's only been 6 months now. The new year passed, and I returned again to the hospital. On that day, for some reason, I didn't go to the 4th floor, but instead to a conference room. Was made to go. There with my father and a doctor, I heard many things. Was made to listen. It was that thing called notification, I guess. They had an extremely indirect way of speaking, but in the end, it seemed like I was going to die. Yeah. I see. And so, I was only able to reply with that. I couldn't find other words. From when I entered until I left the room, that was all I said. Hearing my answer, the doctor quickly wrote with a ballpoint pen in his hand. Most likely, it was the paperwork for the hospice. To the very end, he was very businesslike. My father was very much the same. It was such a simple thing. That was my honest impression. And then, between that day and the next, I changed from the 4th to the 7th, from a 6-patient room to a single. Oh, wow. And also, the 7th floor itself was a bit different from other floors. For one thing, the floors were sparkling. The ceilings were much higher, much more expansive. Inside the rooms, it was extremely clean. The large windows seemed designed to let in lots of light. However, the windows only opened a tiny bit, not enough for you to throw yourself through the window. When I tried measuring, it was just slightly smaller than would allow your head to pass through. Also, the color of the ID bracelets changed. Since the day I was admitted, a vinyl bracelet was always wrapped around my wrist. Upon it was my name and blood type. Yeah, like the ones you get from the hospital. In the ER. That color had changed from blue to white. Ooh. High ceilings, white vinyl bracelets, windows that could only open 15 centimeters. The day I was transferred to the 7th floor, it was when the boring New Year's programs were still being broadcast. The time I met her for the first time was also at the very beginning of the year.
Narcissu.
Second side.
冬
2005, the 7th floor. Goodness. Across the hall, facing the nurse's station, was a lounge-like place. Left in that unpopulated place were a number of sofas, folding chairs, and a large television. On that 28-inch CRT, a meaningless New Year's program was running. Watching that boring television with an equally bored expression was some girl. She had a small build and wore pink pajamas. Her wrist had, just like I did, a white bracelet. Hair that went to her hips left an impression. Hey you, is that interesting? There wasn't any particular deep meaning to it, since there was no one around. I tried speaking to her profile.
別に
Not particularly. That was all she'd replied with. She didn't even turn towards me, even though I had spoken to her. Perhaps she had absolutely no interest in me. She continued to gaze at the television with a bored look. If it's boring, you don't have to watch it. As I thought that, I also sat down in a folding chair. And sitting next to her, I gazed at the television. There was nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. In silence, we continued to gaze at the television. On the screen were the usual New Year's programs, pathetic impersonations and parlor tricks. Occasionally ringing out, the host's stupidly high-pitched laugh. In the pure white sunlit room, it dryly reverberated. Say,
あなた
you? Suddenly the girl spoke to me, while still gazing at the
あな
television.
た何回目
You're on which time? Which time? What does that mean?
ここに
Coming here, the
7
7th
回
floor.
目来たの
Sorry, I don't understand the meaning of the question.
そう
I see, it's your
初めてなん
first.
だね
It seemed that my inability to understand what she was saying, she had unilaterally came to that conclusion.
じゃあ
Well, there's no one else around, so it's my duty. Duty?
そういうルールなの
There's a rule for it. While nodding, she added that there is a rule for someone to teach people who first come here to the 7th floor. Right now, I knew nothing about what any of this was. As if ignoring me, the girl slowly began speaking.
それじゃあよく聞いてね
Well, listen closely, alright? They were slightly different compared to the doctor's speech that I had heard up until coming here. In that business-like speech from the doctor, it was said that this was a place to await the advancement of medicine. Oh. They can't do anything, so they just put you up. They don't have the medication to fix them. It was also called a place for healing the heart. Most likely, broadly speaking, that was probably correct. However, from what the girl said, that was a facade. The 7th floor was within the hospital, but was the only place that didn't give treatments. Because they don't need it. They can't. There's nothing to do. They're terminal. Simply a place to wait for the end of life. That's what the girl said. That's what I also felt. I had the same perception.
私
I'm on my second time, you
2回目
see.
だから
Second time? What's that? And the girl taught me. This place called the 7th floor, to be here from the moment of admission all the way until dying, first of all, apparently didn't happen. Even if being cured was impossible, if your health becomes better, then they would allow you to go home once. But after a while, and your condition worsens, once again you come back. Among those comings and goings, eventually you die. The place where life ran out, it only varied between home and the 7th floor. Unfailingly, one would die in either of those. It seemed no one has ever escaped that. It was with that meaning that the girl had said it was her second time.
じゃあ一度しか言わないから
Well, I'll only say this once.
ここからは
So from here
よ
on,
く聞いて
listen well. Still looking at the dull screen, the girl continued speaking even more. The subject wasn't about what time the lights would be out, the normal sorts of topics exchanged between admitted patients. She taught me about totally different things. On the 3rd time, you're given a temporary discharge. Prepare yourself. There's never a 4th. You won't be going home anymore. If there is a time that you want to run away, go not to Station A, but towards Station B. Don't eat anything. That's the shortest path. It will end with the least burden to your family. It was all full of these sorts of topics that would make one pause. Most likely it was only the people who came to this place. Only among those who were moving towards death. These were the things they continued passing down. Man. Was the duty you mentioned this?
え
Yes, that's right.
いつかあなたも初めて来た人には伝えてね
Someday you tell it to newcomers too, okay? With those final words, the girl slowly stood up. Gently, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. Well, it's time for taking temperature, so... And then, just like that, and with her back facing me, she began walking towards the hall. I was left alone in that place with the laughing voice from the screen and the white flowers decorating the window. In the end, the girl never once looked in my direction. Damn. January 10th. From then, after a few days had passed, finally the New Year's programs ended. Soon the middle and high school third terms would be starting. Today in the lounge, once again, the figures of the girl and I were staring at the television. It's boring, isn't it?
そうね。
Indeed. The word came back in reply, but both of us were conversing while continuing to gaze at the screen. Hey, is this place always like this?
質問の意味がわからない。
I don't understand the meaning of your question. Ah, I meant how there's no one around. Nurses, doctors, the helpers, if you take them out, then aside from our attendants, I had never seen anyone else. I guess it's because it's the New Year's?
その理由を知りたいの？
You want to know the reason for that? No, it's not like I meant that.
じゃあ言わない。
Then I won't say. An exchange that wasn't even a conversation, we indifferently passed back and forth. A slight breeze from the windows that couldn't open any more than 15 centimeters. Occasionally it would sway the girl's hair, and in the same way it would sway the white flowers decorating around the windows. The two of us, while watching the boring television, were only spending days passing time. Pitter-patter. Oh, the two of you were in a place like this? Saying that while rushing up was an elderly nurse. From just glancing at the nurse's station once in a while, this person seemed to be the chief of the 7th floor. So, Setsumi-san, you don't have a fever?
大丈夫。
It's fine, I don't have one. Setsumi. Apparently this was the girl's name. You cannot go roaming about outside anymore, okay? Alright, everyone gets worried.
別にいいよ。
Whatever, sure. My, what kind of statement is that? Really, girls these days, there's just no helping them. And for a while more, the nurse continued nattering on. To that, she, the girl Setsumi, let it go by with an indifferent expression. As if ignoring the slightly noisy nurse, she continued watching the boring screen in front of her. Okay, done. Later I'll come to test your blood, okay? With those final words, once again the nurse returned back to the nurse's station. Hey, you. I mean, I can call you Setsumi, right? Wrapped around the girl's wrist was the white vinyl bracelet. While looking at the blood type and name there, I asked, is something wrong, Setsumi?
どうして呼び捨てなの？
Why is there no honorific? What?
年下のくせに。
Even though you're the younger one. Hey, why am I the younger one?
別に。
No real reason. I just thought so. It wasn't that I was upset at the word younger. It was just, no matter how you looked at it, one would believe I was 6 years older. That was why I took out that license that was in my chest pocket and showed it to her. How about it? Even though I look like this, I'm 20, you know?
やっぱり年下よ。
Like I thought, younger. With just a glance at the license, the girl gave only that reply. Hey, I don't really get it.
どうでもいいじゃない。少し上なだけよ。
It doesn't matter, does it? It's only just a bit older. As always, she spoke softly and with no expression. Those eyes, while always looking at the dull television, also felt like they were looking at some place far away. Setsumi. We have a friend. Kind of. She's kind of a friend. She's about as friends as you're gonna get in this kind of situation, when you're all just waiting to die on this floor. Man, they weren't kidding about this game being sad. It's a real bummer. I love it though. Around when the morning temperature taking ended, I got onto the elevator, trying not to be seen by the nurses. Coming to the first floor, deliberately passing through the entrance for outpatients, I just kept walking out of the hospital. The destination was the place I was taught before, not to the nearby station A, but the far station B. It wasn't like I was planning on running away. The 7th floor, or home. There was no one who died outside of those two. That was what I'd heard before. Also, it seemed that the girl called Setsumi had gone many times to Station B. That was why, for no real reason, I simply felt like wanting to go see that place once. It's not like there are guards around. Even so, us residents of the 7th floor were different from the other admitted patients. While also thinking about the just maybe, I continued walking on the street to the early morning station area. Glancing at the hurrying commuters and people going to school, I slowly moved it on at a measured pace. After walking a bit, taking about 25 minutes, I finally arrived before the station. In terms of bus stops, it was about 4's distance. There's a fair bit of people around. That was the first impression upon seeing Station B. Because my clothes were pajamas, they stood out somewhat. However, if just like that, I bought a train ticket without a single problem, I felt I could go anywhere. Why was it not Station A, but the Station B that was recommended? I didn't know. However, if one were planning to run away, I thought it was a simple thing. The girl was also supposed to have come many times, but why was it that she still remained on the 7th floor, even now, I wonder? Early mornings before station. While watching the people hurry by, suddenly that thought occurred to me. That night, after the lights had been turned off, holding onto a book of manga, unable to sleep, I wandered around the ward alone. Normally, wandering around after lights out would get one scolded badly, but us residents of the 7th floor were given a relative amount of freedom. And with the lights off, the usual lounge was pitch dark. There, I saw her figure. Hey, today you're looking outside? Yeah. In the dark room, there was a response, but that face remained looking beyond the window. Immediately, I started talking about what happened during the day. That reminds me, this morning I went all the way to the station. Just like you told me, I went to see Station B. I see. But the girl's response was no different from usual. Because she was supposed to have gone before, I thought there might have been some kind of reaction, but thinking about that, as well as how the girl still remained here, did it mean that she really had no intention of running away?
私もうすぐ帰れるの
I will soon be able to go home. The voice actress microphone has a bit of a crunch to it. You can hear in the background, probably over my computer, but it's got like air in the background. It sounds a little crunchy. Just a little thing I noticed. Eh? Suddenly the girl opened her mouth. Words as if she had seen clear through my heart just now.
でも
But next is the third
次が
time
3
after
回
all.
目だから
Now, do you hear it? Like, you can hear it distinctly when it turns off.
もう会えないかもね
So we might not be able to meet anyone. Well, that's right. Most likely when she said that she'd be able to go home, she was talking about a temporary discharge. In this place called the 7th floor, to be admitted more than 3 times, it apparently never happened. Especially unlike the elderly, when considering the rate of progression of disease, it was even more so for younger patients like us. With that kind of meaning came the words, "We won't meet again."
ねあなたはどちらを選ぶの
Say, which would you choose? Choose what?
どっちで死ぬつもりってこと
Which one you plan on dying at? Suddenly hearing the word death, my words caught for just a moment. I know, I still haven't thought about it.
そう
I see. Well, you're still on your first time. The girl spoke in a lonely murmur. Of course, even though I knew I couldn't be here forever. Even I knew I couldn't be here forever. Like everyone else, going in and out of hospital, slowly weakening, until someday, in the end, either this 7th floor or surrounded by thin smiles, it would probably come to a choice between those two.
私は家は嫌
I don't want home,
だけどここも嫌
but I don't want here either. Then what will you do?
別に
Nothing in particular. I won't do anything.
自力で歩けるうちにどこかに行くだけ
While I'm still able to walk on my own, I'll just go somewhere. Somewhere? Even though it was obvious as that if one wanted to run away, one could, this girl still remained on the 7th floor. When I thought about that, do you have some other place to go to?
あなた
You
私を引き止めたいの
want to pull me back? Eh?
それとも一緒についてきたいの
Or perhaps you want to come with me. No, I didn't mean it like that.
聞かないで。
Then don't ask. While gazing out the window, the girl spoke indifferently. As always, it had been a conversation where she did not even look in my direction. However, just that time, her usual expressionless profile seemed sad. Taught that the third temporary discharge would be the last, I had come to the 7th floor for the first time. And then, a girl who would soon face her second time. For me, I still couldn't really feel the things that were happening as reality, but someday would I also come to make such a face? From before dawn, rain fell, occasionally also changing to either sleet or snow. It lightly continued coming down. Within that, I was in the usual place watching the television. As always, the 7th floor was devoid of people.
面白い。
Is it interesting? Nope, boring. The girl came from the other side. Exchanging only those words, she quietly sat in the folding chair next to me. And then, today also, the two of us began gazing at the television. Surely the girl was also the same. There was nothing else to do, nothing else she could do. Surprisingly, she responded to something on the television. Something the matter?
別に。
Not particularly. The words were the same, not particularly, but it was a response that was different from usual for her. Becoming interested, I turned my eyes to the screen. What was on the screen was some kind of nature scene. On a beautiful hill, trees and flowers merged into a landscape. And focused on the screen were a great many white flowers. They were flowers I remembered seeing before. They resembled the white flowers even now decorating the room by the windows. Are those the same flower? Look, aren't they exactly like these? While speaking, I pointed first at the screen and then towards the window. No. Oh, really?
種類は同じだけど。
They're the same kind,
違う。
but strictly speaking, they're different. Giving the flowers by the window just a glance, she once again returned to the gaze at the TV while answering. She once again returned to gazing at the television while answering. Honestly, even if she denied that they were the same, to me, I didn't know the difference between the two. Besides, for me, whether the flowers were the same or different, it didn't really matter. Instead of that, the girl normally would never participate in conversation. That girl surprisingly continued speaking. That was why I also tried to maintain the conversation. Are you maybe knowledgeable about this sort of thing?
別に。
Not particularly. Really? But I can't tell the difference at all. The white flowers blooming beyond the screen, the flowers in the vases beyond the girl's profile. While vaguely looking at both of them, I continued further with my words. So, these are orchids or lilies? Look, they've got a whitish color, right? Even though I had no interest, I just kept saying things that came to mind. However, the girl soon became like usual and fell silent. With her usual expression, she only gazed at the boring screen. And when I had given up on the possibility that she would take up the conversation, I once again began to move my eyes back to the television. Narcissus. Huh?
ナルキッソスよ。
They're Narcissus. While answering, for the first time, she faced me. Oh, she's got big eyes. Her eyes are kind of creepy. Swaying her long waist-length hair while pointing at the flowers showed on the television, she looked at me. Just like the flowers displayed on the screen, there was a white vinyl bracelet wrapped around the wrist with white skin. The first time that I saw that face, I thought I saw the briefest smiles. Prologue. Chapter 1, 7th floor. Chapter 2, Silver Coupe. Oh. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. Did we just play the prologue? Is that what we just did?
眩しかった日のこと。
Oh no, we played this already. Skip. Okay. So what about chapter 1?
冬7階
The 7th floor. No, we've been through this. Okay, chapter 2. January 16th. A few days passed and the winter became even more serious. Out in the world, it was in the middle of what was called examination season. As always, the two of us were watching the television today. It's boring, isn't it?
そうね
Indeed. An exchange that couldn't even be called a conversation. They were days where the... I don't think it's supposed to be a they. I think it's supposed to be a there. There were days where the two of us only passed the time meaninglessly. Speaking of which, for you, when was it?
今日よ
Today. I see, it's today, huh? Here, the today that we spoke about was what she had told me before, her temporary discharge.
も
We might not meet
う会え
anymore.
ないか
That's alright. Not alright, that's right. Even if she were once again to return to the 7th floor, just once more was probably the limit. And that time, surely I would also be coming and going between home and this place. For the two of us to meet again, it wasn't likely the timing would work out.
あなた
Did you decide? That which do you want to die at thing? Mm-hmm. No, not yet.
そう
I see. She nodded in a slightly lonely way. That expression was probably because she was someone going on her temporary discharge. Meanwhile, I had yet to realize things had not been given my first temporary discharge from the doctors. That reminds me. In the end, did she decide on her own answer for herself? Pitter-patter. Said to me, the arrangements are done. Coming here and speaking with some older lady. Most likely it was the girl's mother. To me, since I was sitting nearby, the mother bowed her head slightly. Well, it's about time we'll be going. Are you ready? Well then, excuse us. Once more giving me a small bow, the lady made to leave this place. And then she stretched out her hand to the girl that was daughter. But the girl didn't make to leave this place. Even when her mother tugged on her hand, for some reason, she didn't make to stand from the folding chair. What's wrong, Setsumi?
少し
It hurts a bit. Oh, hurts? Where? Your chest? Stomach?
胸
Chest. Wait here, I'll go call the doctor now. Pitter-patter. In a rush, the stopping sound of guest slippers rang out, and the lady ran towards the nurse's station. Left in that place was the girl still hunched over in the folding chair, and me. Her condition, or its progression, I knew absolutely nothing about. The things that I knew were, her name was Setsumi, blood type O, only the things that were on that white bracelet. However, we were residents of the 7th floor, and at least she was worse than me. Say, until the doctor comes, want to lie down there? As I spoke, I pointed to the couch. It was something that was placed in the corner of the room before. Look, I'll support your back.
別に
It's nothing. I'm already fine. With just that reply, she quickly stood up on her own. Hey, you... Don't strain yourself. Faster than I could finish, quickly, she walked out into the hall. Grimacing some quotations there. Night after, the lights were put out. As always, holding a book of manga, unable to sleep, I wandered around the hospital. And then, with the lights off, there was the pitch-dark lounge. There, I found her figure. Yo, you're here again? What's wrong? Feeling bad again?
別に
Not particularly. While looking out the window, that was all the girl replied. In the end, it seemed that the girl's temporary discharge had been postponed. With that, while I didn't know what the next opportunity would be, it was most likely the postponement was not in a few days, but weeks. Say, I'm just wondering. But today, you're faking being sick? Well, the term faking sickness itself might have been a bit strange. After all, we couldn't really be said to be in a normal condition. The point being, you didn't want to go on temporary leave?
意味が
I
わから
don't
ない
under
わよ
I don't understand your meaning. Well, you won't have to anymore after, right? To that question, she remained silent and gave no reply. From before, she had repeatedly asked me which place I planned to die in. And to that, I had not yet decided, while the girl had said she didn't like home or the 7th floor. You really don't have another place to go to, do you?
だったら
If so, what about it?
どうなのよ。
Ah, no, nothing. How unique to be on the precipice of death and long for a place that is neither home nor the hospital. I've never thought about that before. This game is very thoughtful. I'm having a lot of fun with it. In the usual lounge, now pitch dark. As always, without even looking my way, the girl sat looking out the window. Even though it was still 11 o'clock, in this place called a hospital, most of the lights were already out. This place is where ordinary and extraordinary days met. Moreover, we were residents of the 7th floor. Already we could choose nothing outside the 7th floor and home. From that dark 7th floor window, the girl continued looking out at the outside world, the ordinary world. Still, the buildings and houses shone brightly with light. The roads home were filled with the figures of people hurrying home. I myself had only barely realized my situation, but already I was a resident of the 7th floor, a person of the extraordinary world. Probably, I was already unable to return to the other world. The me whose time has stopped. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone. In the beginning, from the window I watched lively children go to school, people walking quickly. When I tired of that, I always watched the television. There was nothing else to do, nothing else I could do. Even if outside the window it was snowing, the screen had the sun. Without cold, heat, or pain, a dream world spread before my eyes. I sought peace in imaginations. I only greatly increased my knowledge, simply accumulating more and more meaningless trivia. At some point, the things shown on the television lost their sense of reality. Next was in books and games, and then family. Finally, even my own body. As if watching some stranger, I lost ability to understand it was real. That was why when I came to the 7th floor, I wasn't surprised. If I closed my eyes, always the world would disappear, and that's why I thought I was fine with it. Made myself think I was fine with it. And soon I could be discharged a second time. The next time I come here, I might not be able to walk on my own. Even though I knew that, I felt my unresisting self to be wretched. I felt myself, who didn't even have a destination, to be ridiculous.
時間を止め、心を止め、胸に大きな傷跡を作り、
Stopping time, stopping my heart, making a large scar on my chest.
それでも
And even so,
22年も生きてきたのに、
even though I have lived 22 years, I thought it was pathetic. Wow, she's 22. January 19th, the 7th floor. After a few days more, the cloudy days ended yesterday and the high winter sky spread wide. Surprisingly, my father came to visit. In the beginning, he had pained look on his face. However, he said something about my insurance, and that time his eyes weren't sad. Well, I have to talk a bit with the doctor, saying that my father went down the hall. He seemed to be heading to that place from before, the gloomy conference room. Once again, I was alone in the hospital room. With nothing to do, I stretched my hands out to the weekly magazines bought for me from the store. They were there along with fruits and juice that he always brought when visiting. Next to the basket with fruit inside, just in front of the melons that I hated. A key. What came into view were car keys. Shining silver keys. It was the coupe father was so proud of, with the interior he apparently had modified. Before I had asked on a whim to borrow it and had been quickly turned down, the keys to that car. And in my pajamas chest pocket, that driver's license. Even though I had lost its debut that day, I had continued to carry the license. It was proof of my once ordinary days. You gonna steal the car? You gonna steal the car? Clack. Without a word, I grasped the keys. I just went and did it. Even I didn't know the exact reason why. Simply, I just did that. It was like watching a single scene on television somewhere. Then, taking the few days' worth of medicine that I had just been given, I just placed them in a bag from a convenience store. I headed down the hall. No stealing the car. Okay. Slipping by the nurse's station, I quickly continued to walk towards the elevator. Oh, maybe we are stealing the car. I was wondering how we'd be able to find it in the parking lot. Plastic bag in my right hand, the car keys in my left. In my chest pocket, the license that was supposed to have lost its debut lay hidden. In front of the lounge, the next thing that came into sight was the figure of the girl, as always, watching the television. Sitting in a cheap folding chair, today she was also boredly looking at the screen. Hey you, is that interesting?
そう見える
Does it look like it? Nope, not at all. The usual exchange. Her eyes were, as usual, seemingly looking far away. Well then, shall we go together? Setsumi. Eh? While showing her the car key in my hand, I continued speaking. I also don't want home. Setsumi. Setsumi. I also don't want the 7th floor. So, shall we go together? Setsumi. With that word, the girl stood up from the folding chair. Lightly, her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. And so the girl also packed a few days' worth of medicine into a plastic bag. Then the two of us placed the 7th floor behind us. I turned off the boring television. The shrilly laughing voice of the host was silenced. The two of us in pajamas got on the elevator and descended from the highest floor to the first. When we came to the first floor, instead of the entrance for emergencies, normal admittance and discharges, we deliberately left from the outpatient entrance and headed to the parking lot. Wind noises. The moment we left the building, a cold winter blast struck us in the face. In the parking lot with few obstructions, the wind felt even stronger. Together, while we carefully peered around searching, we walked around the parking lot. Then, after searching a while, we finally found my father's car. There it is, the silver coupe. The car Dad was so proud of that he even fussed over the interior. Quickly, I inserted the key and opened the door. Click. Here, you can get in. Setsumi. Alright. Slam. I sank myself into the deep driver's seat. For the girl in the passenger seat, because of her size, even if she sat normally, it was difficult for her to see the front. She's small. Next, I put the key in my hand into the ignition. As I turned it, I stepped on the accelerator. It was all exactly like the training center had taught. In moments, the sound of the engine reverberated in the interior. After that, just to have to release the parking brake and let go of the clutch. With this, we can go anywhere. Should be able to go anywhere. Well, here we go. Setsumi. The girl gave a small nod. Instead of responding, I shifted into second gear, and quietly the car set off. Where are they gonna go? As the chassis rattled from the unfamiliar clutch, slowly it went on. Setsumi. It's shaky, isn't it? Yeah, it's the first time in this car, after all. And while we were on the subject, it's the first time driving since getting my license. Setsumi. I don't know why I keep saying that. I see. Eventually, it appeared before us, the hospital parking lot exit. Just beyond it was a large road. I pulled the car out into the lightless intersection. Honk honk. Oh goodness. From behind came the sound of a car, horns blaring as we suddenly pulled into the lane. The unfamiliar clutch ground when the gears shifted while the silver coupe ran in fits and starts. Perhaps the car just behind us was especially angry, but it didn't seem they'd stop honking for a while. Even so, without paying them any particular mind, I drove. The feeling of reality was somehow thin. Hey, you. Setsumi. What? Are you afraid? Being afraid would be better? No, not really. Still morning. The sun was high. Looking beyond the windshield, the January winter sky was painted so blue it somehow felt sorrowful. It wasn't like we had a destination. That day, under the winter sky, the car swayed with the unfamiliar clutch. That day, in our pajamas, the two of us aimed for the national road. That winter day. They're on the highway now. They've run away. Oh, I bet their parents are going to be so upset. Around when that so very high sun was turning orange. We continued to drive. Simply at random, the car continued running. And then, when the area turned into an unfamiliar place, I'm stopping for a bit. Setsumi. Finally, I brought the car to a stop. Outside of the city area, by the roadside somewhere, a lonely place that didn't seem to have much traffic. Stopping the car in a place I didn't even know the name of, or now starting expecting the interior. No, for now I started inspecting the interior. If there were things that would even be the slightest bit useful. We had rushed out without any preparation, but I could see that we would be in trouble very soon. While thinking about that, first I searched the dashboard in front of me. There really isn't much here. Just a few hundred yen worth of what appeared to be change from the expressways. The rest were just a few books of manga and a disposable camera. It wasn't like we had a destination, but it seemed that even the navigation system installed in the car was broken. And also, the amount of money I had was about 8,000 yen. While leaving, I had hurriedly stuffed that much into my pocket. With that and adding in the change in front of me, it could barely make 9,000 yen. I don't know what the exchange rate for yen is. Especially not back in like... When was this one made? I almost called it a book. When did this game get made? 2016? It's been a while. So I don't know what the exchange rate is. I don't know how much money they actually have. In USD, of course. Of course, it wasn't like I'd been expecting to find anything in the car from the start. But with this budget, we'd probably be in trouble really soon. I could definitely believe that we wouldn't find decent lodging. Even so, I doubt that the girl had any money. Satsumi. Something wrong? No, it's nothing. Oh well, it didn't matter. I should have known this from the start. To begin with, it wasn't like we had thought up arrangements or plans before acting. Instead of that, right now I wanted to move. I didn't want to sit still. Under the now darkening sky, once again the silver coupe ran. By the way, are you hungry? As I drove, I spoke to the one sitting next to me. Thinking about it, we hadn't eaten since this morning. For now, let's go to a convenience store? Satsumi. No. Hey, don't be so picky. Compared to the 7th floor food, it absolutely has to be better. At my words, the girl returned silence. Those downcast eyes, their line of sight was on the pink pajamas that she wore. Ah, now that you say, that's right. As I spoke, I looked down at my own clothes. It wasn't like there was no problem inside the car either. For now, we had to do something about these clothes. Making that decision, I turned the wheel from the main road and headed into town. After riding a while, the place we came to was some street I didn't know the name of. Surely it must be near some station, since it was a street where about not that number of people could be seen. In a place like this, you'd think there'd be one. While glancing around the area searching, I moved the car on, slightly raising my body in the seat while driving. Ah, found it. In a short while, I spotted a coin-operated laundromat. It appeared quite run down and was in the first floor of a small apartment building. This place might just be perfect. A short distance away from the entrance, I parked the car. Alright, just wait a bit, Satsumi. Slam. Leaving the girl who's making a puzzled face, I headed to the coin-op laundromat on foot. I think the Satsumi is supposed to be a, consideration that the next line is Satsumi. You know, it's like, because we don't have a indicator of who's talking besides that. So I wonder if that's what it's doing. Just past the automatic doors, my nose picked up the scent of bleach and detergent. Inside, it was just as run down as the exterior, filled with old washing machines and dryers. There's no one around. I muttered that in the empty shop. Rumble. There, raising a low sound while spinning, was a single unit in use. Quickly approaching that machine, I started to check the timer. It looked like 200 yen had been inserted and was set for 30 minutes. Also, it had only been going for 5. Most likely, until it was done, the person was passing time somewhere. Coming to that conclusion, once again from the entrance, I looked around for someone that seemed like that sort of person. Then, making sure that no one was in sight, I placed my hands on the revolving dryer's door, and suddenly opened it. Stealing clothes. Chang. Opened in the middle of a drying cycle, the machine was forced into a stop temporarily. Ignoring the blast of heat and moist air, I took out a mass of half-dry clothing from inside. Then, carrying it just like that in both hands, I looked around once more before I put the shop behind me. Click, slam. Satsumi. Ah. Seeing both my hands filled with laundry, the girl raised a bit of a surprised voice. However, paying no heed to that, I threw them into the back seat. Well, we're going. Vroom vroom. With one hand on the wheel, I eyed the pile of laundry I had thrown in the back. At a glance, there it was, all flashy-looking jeans and sweatshirts. All the sizes seemed to be on the large side. They were still wet, but inside the car, with the heat from the vents, they'd probably be dry soon. Later, change into whatever you want. There was no particular reply to those words either. She simply eyed the pile of laundry. Well, what else could we do? I know. Even for me, it wasn't like I did this because I liked it. Plus, while the money we had wasn't being held for any particular purpose, with what we had immediately on hand, buying new clothes would have been a tight situation. When the face of the moon really came out and we had driven for a while, I stopped the car near some park somewhere. It was most likely some kind of children's park, tucked in the middle of a residential neighborhood. In the middle of that, I began a search of the clothes stolen earlier. Most likely, because of the heating in the car, the laundry was totally dry. Looks like it really is all guy stuff. Exactly as when I had glanced at them, it was all gaudy jeans and sweats. Most likely it was someone about my age, and size-wise, something close. And then, while still sitting in the driver's seat, I grabbed a pair of suitable jeans and sweatshirt and started to change. Hey, you change into something too. They're all too big. Then you're going to always be in pajamas? Alright. Can't reply. The girl took hold of a pair of jeans and opened the door. Hey, where are you going? To change. With just that answer, she began walking towards the restroom that could be seen in the park just ahead. Click. Hey there, that was quick. In moments, the girl returned. The pink pajamas that she'd been wearing up until now was in her hand. She had changed into jeans and a white sweatshirt. Well, it's good that you managed to put something on. There was no reply. It was something I saw coming. The size was too much and draped rather heavily on her. Since the jeans were too long, the legs were rolled up a number of times. Meanwhile, the top sweatshirt was folded over in the same way. The pajamas are better. Well, don't say that. It's a bit warmer this way. At my word, she just gave me the slightest dissatisfied look. I guess something more feminine would have been better. Not particularly. Her usual response. Even though I thought she was dissatisfied with the poofy sweatshirt, soon she returned to being expressionless. Suddenly, it started raining. As if it had forgotten how to stop, rain spilled from the cold January sky. Looking from inside the car, countless raindrops on the windshield. One by one, they would grow too big to stick. A number would gather, overflow, and turn into a rivulet. Then, while flowing down, they would involve other rivulets and flow even more. The two of us just sat gazing at the rain from inside the car. In some parking lot somewhere, a lonely place in the mountains. Having finished shopping at a convenience store, we were spending the night. On the menu for each of us was 2 rice balls, 500 milliliters of Pocari, and half an order of fries. It's been a while since having this stuff, right? With one hand holding the convenience store rice ball, the girl murmured. Thinking about it normally, it wasn't all that splendid, but compared to the food on the 7th floor, it was good enough. And then, when both of us reached out towards the fries, suddenly the girl's hand stopped. Is something wrong? Not particularly. While answering, her line of sight turned down towards the whitely fogged windshield. There by the roadside, a number of white flowers could be seen. Well, the narcissus. White flowers soaked by the rain. I didn't know whether they were planted by someone or were there naturally, but these flowers seemed familiar. Those were the Narcissus daffodils. Ah, those were daffodils. I didn't know too much about plants and all, but daffodils, I had at least heard the name before. Me too. I also recalled that even though the girl would normally speak only rarely, she would uncharacteristically join in conversations on this topic. That's why I went along and continued to speak. And I guess these are also different from those two? Strictly speaking, they're different. They're quite rare things then, aren't they? Not particularly. They're everywhere. Everywhere? Like where? For me, it wasn't like I put very much meaning in the statement. It was intended simply from the flow of conversation as a natural question. And yet she thought for a moment, then slowly opened her mouth. West. West? Awajishima is famous. Hey, wait, Awajishima? You mean, just how far away do you think that is from here? For someone who had only just started driving like me, I couldn't even make a guess. Most likely it was easily around 700 kilometers. Even using the expressways, I couldn't even begin to estimate the time it would take. First, considering our funds, it certainly didn't seem enough. Even if we stayed off the expressways and used the smaller roads, the cost of gasoline itself seemed ominous. Look, don't say unreasonable things now. There's no way we could go to such a place, right? Who said anything about wanting to go? Eh? I was asked, so I simply answered. With just that answer, the girl once again gazed beyond the windshield at those flowers. The glass inside the car, cold from the rain, was fogged white. She cast her gaze beyond even that. It's not like I wanted to go there either. However, it was also not like if we had another place to go. Maps. Chapter 3. I need a map. It's me whose time has stopped. Only increasing my knowledge, simply increasing the number of meaningless values, simply desiring only information from the television screen. Eventually, reality grew faded, turned hollow. Are we Setsuna now? But I liked looking at maps. Cars and trains, things that would take me places. I liked them. Spreading maps upon the narrow bed, connecting route after route, connecting. Sedans, coupes, convertibles. I also rode on many different kinds of cars. That ever-continuing Route 1, I ran all the way to the distant end of it. Indigo blue sky, beautiful shoreline. I ran all the way to the places painted in my dreams. Gently going around the curve traced by a cape, under the burning sunlight, dashing on a brilliant white beach. If I just closed my eyes, I could go anywhere. Scenery that I'd never seen before would float before me as I thought about lands that I'd never be able to go. Without meaning, I simply increased my knowledge. Hollowly, I accumulated only yearning. January 21st. A sky where the rain had let up. Flowing by at an amazing speed, high clouds. From the ground, the still damp asphalt gave a distinctive sha noise. Zoom! Within all that, as always, we continued driving on. Without a destination, simply just driving on. It wasn't like we were headed to the Awajishima that we had spoke about last night. For one thing, as the problem before that, we probably didn't have the gasoline money. While pondering about that, I continued driving straight along the unknown road. But where was this, I wonder? Suddenly I wound up thinking about it. I wasn't all that good with geography to begin with, but all the place names were the ones I'd never seen before. I'd been driving very carefully, but with the navigation system dead, I knew even less. Before I knew it, I was peering at the signs in the area while I drove. I don't really know. What? No, just wondering where this is. The girl spoke to me when I looked around, and I gave a simple reply. Well, most likely, even if I asked her, she wouldn't have known. Iruma, the Saitama Prefecture. Ooh, she does know. Eh? At the next intersection, if you go right, Route 16, you'll go out to Hachioji. You know? Did you live here before? Not particularly. It's not that. That was a surprise. No, instead of surprising, why she knew so much was so mysterious. No matter how you looked at it, she didn't seem the type to get in a car and go around. Then, maybe, from here to that place, Awajishima, you know the way? I don't understand what your question means. Well, you see, without getting on the expressway, we might be able to get there using only smaller roads, right? Look, the gasoline costs, and our money might not be enough after all. Look, the gasoline costs, our money might be enough after all. Do you want to go? No, it's not like I meant that, but then don't ask. With those final words, the girl once again fell silent. In her usual cold way, she remained staring out the window. I had the feeling that what those eyes were looking at was not necessarily the scenery flowing by before her, but a much farther place. Those words from before, don't ask. Just what did they mean, I wonder? If I had answered that I planned on going, what would she have answered? Without a destination, we simply traveled. From the start, we hadn't any plans or schedules. Simply, we just hated both the 7th floor and our shallow homes. But for me, at least just for me, it didn't matter what. I probably wanted something to give me a direction. January 22nd. It's been a couple days now. They've been on the run for a while with only 9,000 yen, and they have to buy food. I don't know what their big plan is. Splash! Crash! It's cold, isn't it?
そうね。
Indeed. The music is so beautiful. I just want to listen to it for a second. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Indeed. Some beach I didn't know the name of. When I noticed, we were headed out towards the sea. I'd intended to head west, but it seemed at some point I wound up heading south. Wind noises! A beach with a pitch black sky and a strong cold wind. The two of us left the car and stood gazing at the dark sea. As always, the girl looked far away with a downcast air where the black sky and sea merged at the location. Oh my god, I can't read. I can't read today, guys. I don't even know what the whole sentence was. My brain was just making up words. I don't even understand. Let me try again. As always, the girl looked far away with a downcast air at where the black sky and sea merged at the horizon. And then, after watching the sea for a while, slowly she began walking to the water's edge. Say,
どうなると思う？
what do you think would happen? And I don't understand the meaning of your question.
楽に死ねると思う。
Do you,
このまま海に入っていくと。
do you think I would die comfortably if I went out into the sea like this? Her back was still turned to me, words as she continued walking to the water's edge. The third time was the last. There is no fourth. Probably it would come to picking between the 7th floor and home. It seems no one has escaped that. Those are the words the girl had once passed to me. And she was on her second, and had said that she wanted neither home nor the 7th floor. Already, this was after she had passed it to me. Already, her task was over. That was why I figured it meant that, who knows, I've never drowned before.
じゃあもしも
Then, if right now I were to go into the sea,
あなた
would you stop me? While speaking, she turned around and looked at my face, placing the moon floating on the pitch black sky to her back. The gaze that was always looking at some faraway place was looking straight at me. I don't know, not until that
そう
time.
よね。
Indeed. And then, turning her back towards me and once again facing the sea, she slowly took a step forward. Hey, you... What? Is it that you want me to stop you? At my words, the girl stopped just a few steps before the breaking waves. The strong wind misted up the spray from the waves, striking her feet. If you want me to stop you, I'll stop you.
別に
Not particularly. It's not
じゃな
that.
いわよ。
Then I don't have to stop you, right? For that question, there was no reply either. However, the feet that stopped did not go further. That was why I thought that was her reply. They're so intimately connected through their terminal illnesses that they share. They don't even know what each other has, but just the fact that it's terminal, they share this intimate connection with each other. One that I don't know if you could find in the real world, in the world that they're leaving behind. But at the same time, they don't know anything about each other. He doesn't know anything about her besides her name and her blood type, which is on her wrist. So and that she likes flowers and she can identify flowers. And now apparently that she likes maps, but they don't really know very much about each other. The high, high sky that could only be found in winter. Stained heart-wrenchingly blue with the strong wind that whistled across the elevated rail line. Reflecting that blue sky was the metallic hood of a running silver coupe. I was gripping the steering wheel and she sat in her usual way on the passenger seat. Where this was, I didn't know, but as a more real problem, in moments we were gonna run out of gasoline. We hadn't had that much money to begin with, but from purchases at convenience stores, our remaining funds were even less now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Now, there was only 7,000 yen. Of course, I didn't know how many liters this car took, but I thought we probably had enough to fill the tank once. It wasn't as if we had a destination or anything, but losing our legs would mean we would be stuck. I'll go get some gas. I see. While speaking, I turned the wheel and headed towards the gas station in front of us. Welcome. Will it be credit card or cash? With cash. Will it be regular or high octane? Regular? High octane? I didn't really understand. Of course, when it came to this car, there were lots of things I didn't know. But since I had only just gotten my license, I knew very little about this sort of thing in general. Which shall it be? I hesitated to speak while the part-time clerk waited for my answer from the other side of the window. And just when I was about to say it didn't matter, the girl on the passenger seat spoke. Regular. Yes, regular. Yes, regular, cash, full tank. Will that be all right? Yes, please. Yes, certainly. With a cheerful reply, the attendant began to skillfully pump the gasoline. Oh, they pumped gasoline for you. That's cool. From the window open, about 10 centimeters, came the distasteful smell of gasoline. Hey, regular is fine for this? At the question, the girl remained silent. Instead, she quickly pointed to the price listing on the pump. Ah, of course, this was the cheaper one. I didn't really know much about this, but I didn't think there was that much difference. And then there was the meter on the gas pump before my eyes reporting the amount used. 25, 26, 27, 28. That digital display was counting up ferociously. Did I screw up? Looking at those numbers, I began to get nervous. Just before, I had wound up saying full tank on a whim, but the amount of money we had on hand wasn't all that much. Putting together all the change, it was about 7,000 yen, and of course I had no idea how large this car's tank was. If there wasn't enough money, what would happen? Going by the price list shown, I believe we had enough for about 60 liters, but 38, 39, 40, 41. Even now the meter was counting up without slowing down. Under normal conditions, it would have been something I wouldn't have worried about, but as I continued watching, I grew more and more nervous. Damn it, it's still going? Before I knew it, the words tumbled out. It's okay, it'll stop now. This is a 50 liter. Just as she said, when the meter was between 47 and 48, it stopped. Following that, the sound of the receipt being printed out. And once again, the part-time clerk came back. Thank you for waiting. It comes out to 5,240 yen. Ah, here. From my pocket, I took out and handed over a 5,000 yen bill with a crumpled 1,000 yen bill. Here's your change of 760 yen and your receipt. Thank you very much. Putting the clerk's bright voice behind us, I once again pulled the car out onto the road before us. Once again, the silver coupe ran. With this, I felt the urgent fear of the gas tank to be gone for the moment. Now they've got quite a bit of gas now. And now our remaining funds was just about 2,000 yen. I was also worried about that, but I was also curious about what happened just before. Hey, could it be that you know a lot about cars? Not particularly. Not particularly? Didn't you say this was a 50 liter before? Of course, this much might just have been a guess or something that was common knowledge. However, previously she'd also known about the roads. Also nagged by the fact that I took out the car registration on the dashboard. Would you of course know this car's name, right? You would of course know this car's name, right? Is that a question? Well, you can think of it as a quiz. Integra, Type R, Coupe. Interesting. That's correct. And the specs? 99 model, 5-speed transmission, maximum output, 200 horsepower. I hadn't thought that she would really answer. My eyes couldn't help but follow the words on the registration in my hand as the girl flatly continued speaking. Oh my god. Total length
1797cc。
438 millimeters. Total width 1695 millimeters. General displacement 1797 cc. Do you want me to go on? No, that's enough. Correct. As I replied, I returned the registration to its place. Unbelievably, all the specs were exactly as recorded. It was very much something that I didn't think could be memorized. If I asked someone why someone would, I couldn't begin to imagine. Oh my god. It was very much something that I didn't think could be memorized. If asked why someone would, I couldn't begin to imagine. Right before my eyes, this girl answered. Moreover, considering the roads and flowers from before, I could believe that she knew about a wide variety of things. Hey, why do you know so much? No particular reason. It's because I'm older than you. With just that answer, once again she fell silent. Gazing out the window, she didn't give off an air that she would answer any new questions I asked. Older. I really didn't look it, but those were also the girl's words from earlier. Name, Setsumi, blood type O. Those are the words written on her white vinyl bracelet. And she seemed to be older. That was the little information I knew of her. Exactly. You guys don't know anything about each other. Around when the sun was slowly setting, the silver coupe continued running. Without a destination, without a place it needs to go, it just simply moving forward. The issue of gasoline was fine, but the remaining money had mostly disappeared. Even counting the change, it was about 2,000 yen. Thinking in terms of buying meals at convenience stores, it would last about 3 or 4 days. Hey, what should we do from now on? I don't understand the meaning of your question. I mean, we don't have much money left. And so, the girl was as she always had been. She spoke while bringing the rice ball just bought from the convenience store to her mouth. And also, just by continuing to drive like this, without a doubt, the gasoline was being used up. Honestly speaking, doing nothing, just standing still, might have been better. However, doing nothing, being unable to do anything, just staying still was painful. While thinking about that, I kept driving. From previous experience, when driving on the smaller roads, it was just about 3 days before the gasoline ran out. The remaining 2,000 yen used to buy food from the convenience store was similarly 3-4 days worth. Clearly, the end of things was coming into sight. Hey, that place, Awajishima, was it? You want to go there? There was no reply, just the usual gazing out the window as always. I might want to go a bit, maybe. Why? Well, of course, we hadn't dashed out of the 7th floor with goals or plans to begin with. That was why for me, going west, east, or wherever it was, it didn't matter. I was sure any place would have been fine. I just wanted some goal or destination. When the day completely turned into night, I was in some pachinko parlor's parking lot. Of course, I was planning on making money off pachinko or slots. Oh, I wasn't planning on making money off pachinko or slots. With this measly 2,000 yen, I knew I didn't stand a chance. However, if it were just about 10 or 20,000, it should be easy to steal that much. That was, from my previous travels to the pachinko parlors, my guess. With just that much, for the moment we would be fine, and we might even be able to get to that Awajishima. That was why I spoke about my plan to the girl. You're just gonna steal money? How about it? Want to try?
Yeah.
No. I see. Alright. It was what was expected, but I was plainly refused. From the start, it wasn't as if I was expecting anything from the girl. It wasn't as if I'd sought her out her help. Explaining my plans to her was more like a declaration. Well then, wait a bit. Leaving her in the car, I walked towards the pachinko parlor alone. Inside the unexpectedly crowded shop, there were a number of machines, ball dispensers, and a fair amount of people. Here and there were also a number of stacked cash boxes. It might be just right. Making that decision, I headed towards the slot corner that was my target. After a while, scouting from the aisles, from examining the area, I found one machine. Some middle-aged man who definitely looked like an office worker had stacked 4 boxes by his feet, above his head where another 2 were stacked. Moreover, it was a corner machine, and the neighboring machines were empty. From what I had seen from before, he also didn't seem to have come with friends or acquaintances. The conditions were lined up. Most likely in that state, even if one box by his feet was stolen, he wouldn't notice right away. If it was like similar shops, it would be worth some 20,000 yen. If we had just that much. I simply waited intently for the office worker-like person to head to the restroom. Eventually, about when 30 minutes had passed, finally the man stood up from his seat. Quickly following after, I went to the restroom to make sure. Then in a rush, I quickly returned to the slot machine. Next, while checking out the people who were playing the slots and shop staff, I slowly approached the machine. Then, in order to avoid suspicion, acting perfectly natural, I pulled up a cash box at my feet. Crash! At that instant, a tremendous sound raised as the slot coins scattered on the floor. Pulled it up. Was the plan? No, I definitely raised it up once with these hands. However, unable to support the weight, I wound up dropping the entire box on the floor. And then all eyes looked over, wondering what caused the loud racket. Uh-oh. We're too weak. We have a terminal illness. We're too weak. I thought I heard the sound of voices, felt the presence of people running over. However, those voices were heard from behind me. Already by that time, I was 2 meters in front of the shop exit. Slam. Pam, pam. Starting the engine in a big rush, I slammed on the gas. Turning the wheel, I hurriedly pulled the car out. At that time, bang, scrape, scrape. Ah! Even because I'd driven up on a curb or something, just then I wound up ramming the rear. That nasty scraping sound was the body scraping on something. However, there wasn't time to worry about that. I drove out into the road in front of us. Whew. While rubbing my chest, which was almost out of breath, I drove silver coupe along the now totally dark road. I was a bit worried about the spot that was hit before, but for now, getting away from that place had priority. Eventually, driving about 10 minutes about when we were totally clear of the pachinko parlor, I stopped the car by some roadside and began inspecting the place that was hit earlier. Is it okay? Yeah, it's probably nothing major. From the passenger seat, the girl called to me, sounding just a tiny bit worried. As I inspected the damaged area, I answered. From the looks of it, the rear bumper was slightly dented and the muffler's tip was a bit cracked. With just this, there probably wouldn't be a problem driving. Whew. Feeling relief, I let out a sigh. So close. Immediately, I recalled the events in the pachinko parlor. I had failed with just a little bit more to go, but if I did well, the next time I thought I could succeed. I figured that even though I hadn't been able to carry the cash box, that was only because I hadn't lifted heavy things in a while. If I were prepared from the start, I could probably manage. You're being mistaken. Huh? The you now should be different from the you from before. The girl's words were as if she had seen clear through me. But with just that much weight, you shouldn't think of it as it being the same. Most likely what she was saying was right. I didn't want to admit it, but the me now is different from the me from before. Yeah, it's only been like 8 months, 6 months since you started deteriorating. Certainly, with my strength reduced by this much, it was hard to believe I would succeed. Then, what should I do? To that question, there came no answer. Just quiet gazing at the dark sky beyond the window. Was that telling me to give up? Emerald Sea. Should we go? Should we keep going? I think we could probably finish it off. Let's finish off the first video of Narcissu. Emerald Sea. They're just on the run. They have no place to go. Stopping time. Stopping my heart. Days of simply gathering knowledge. Days of gazing at maps, closing my eyes, traveling to unknown towns. One day, on a monthly magazine I always bought, my eyes stopped on a photo just decorating the back cover. It was a female model wearing a flashy swimsuit, shot at the water's edge with that sort of pose. With the Emerald Sea I always saw in my dreams behind her back, she was smiling. I was sure we were around the same age. With that exceptional figure, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me. I don't think I was particularly envious. For one thing, I didn't have a swimsuit, and didn't even have any urgent need for one. For me, if I had pajamas, that was enough. Numerous seasons, white overcast skies, passed without even the need to exchange words with anyone. That day, first year of middle school in June, the first day I was admitted into the hospital, I remembered that I had ordered a swimsuit, recalling the swimsuit from a number of years before. I remembered the swimsuit that had lost its debut that day. Taken out of the drawer for the first time in years, a school swimsuit that was still brand new. Taking off my usual pajamas nervously, I put on that blue swimsuit. It was a perfect fit. Even though how many years had passed, it fit as if, just now, I had ordered it. Towards my figure, the monthly magazine model director, smiling face at me, smiled with the Emerald Sea to our back. With that exceptional figure, happy and relaxed, directing a smile at me. That was saddening. I didn't think I was particularly envious. However, to be honest, I really might have admired her. Because I knew it was impossible. I might have yearned for it even more so.
だけど
But
胸の大きな傷跡が
the large scar on my chest advised me to
諦
give
め
up.
ようと諭した。生涯の伴侶は目を閉じた世界にしろと諭した。
My lifelong companion told me to make do with the world in my closed eyes. January 22nd. When the sun slowly slanted, staining the western sky orange, as always, we continued to drive. What should we do now? Our money was for the most part tight.
ねえあなた、
Say, you... When I was thinking about that, surprisingly, the girl spoke to me. You can go take baths? Ah, right now, outside of long baths, I haven't been told to stop. I see. Something similar to me, then. What she was saying was probably whether the doctors have stopped me from taking baths or not. Especially for kidney and digestive disorders, there were tubes where the tubes were used, baths were often banned. Thinking about it that way, at least, the girl probably had a circulatory problem, like I did. What did you want to go take a bath? Oh, what? Did you want to go take a bath?
悪い。
Problem? No, I wanted to take one also. Even so, financially speaking, stopping at a hostel or hotel was out of the question. Well then, shall we look for a bathhouse someplace?
銭湯
Bathhouse? Yeah, something like that. We still have the money for... On second thought, I'm fine. What, you're fine? Since that day when we left from the 7th floor, 3 days had already passed. Yeah, they've been on the run for a while. There, bathing was done twice a week. In order to wipe the body, each day there was 2 warm sponge baths. Well, because of the season, we didn't sweat, and we were mostly in the car, so it didn't get particularly dirty. But is that what you're embarrassed about the bathhouse, so you don't want to go?
別に
Not particularly. I didn't mean that. The sun had completely set and a large moon showed its face in the sky. After that, driving for a while, I found a place that looked like a school somewhere. Here, might just be right. I stopped the car on the roadside near the entrance. Then I began fishing through that mass of laundry that had been left in the back seat. I was sure there were 2 or 3 towels. So pushing aside the clothes that didn't matter, I took up what felt like a towel. It had the words Shirashi Construction printed on it, most likely some marketing thing, as it was a shabby towel. Well, wait a bit. Huh? Holding 2 of the shabby towels, I headed to the school in front of us. Climbing over the closed gate, I peered around the area for a place I was looking for. We can't lift a box, but we climbed over a gate? Ah, there it is. After a while, I found the faucet that I was looking for. It was probably there for the gardens. Squeak, squeak, sploosh. Turning the faucet, the water flowed out strongly, cold enough that it felt like it would cut through you. Then I wet the towels and firmly wrung them out. Slam. Sorry for the wait. Here. Taking one of the 2 damp towels in my hands, I gave them to the girl. Then taking off the sweatshirt I wore on top, I went ahead and started to wipe my body. In the car interior, well warmed from the heater, the feel of the chilly, damp towel felt good. You don't have to hold back. Wipe your body. It's cold and feels good, you know?
分かった。
Alright. At first, the girl had remained unmoving with a sense of hesitation, but with that answer, she slowly took her hands to the buttons on her clothes. Floppy dress shirt and jeans. Unlike me, she placed her hand within her clothes and wiped her body that way. Hey. Something the matter?
見ないでよ。
Don't look. Ah, sorry, that's right. Holding the towel in her hand, the girl murmured with her clothes partially off. She made a face with just the slightest bit of reluctance and embarrassment. It was the first time I saw her at that expression. In the cramped car, the 2 of us faced our backs to each other. How about it? Feels good, doesn't it? It was just turning totally dark and the interior was dimly lit. The glass right in front of me reflected the image of myself wiping my body. And further past my figure, it reflected the figure of the girl behind my back. Just like me, she'd taken off her top and was wiping herself. Without intending to, I saw her. A large scar on her chest could be seen. Most likely they were scars from surgery. I didn't know the details, but it was larger than mine.
ねえあなた、
Say, you... Eh? What is it?
そんなに
Is it that
珍しい。
unusual? From me on my back, the words directed towards my figure reflected in the glass. Couple more days. They've been on the run for almost a week now. I wonder what they're gonna do. They don't have money to keep going on. Under the cloudy sky, the silver coupe ran on. As always, it continued to run with no destination, and looking back, 3 days had passed. In that span, nothing particularly special had happened. To be really particular, along the way we found a practically free open-air bath. There wasn't really many people around, so at the least we managed to take a bath. Other than that, we were towards the bottom of our money, and once again towards the bottom of our gas tank. Have you gotten a bit tired of it? Not particularly. The two of us, while eating convenience store nigiri, exchanged words. Compared to the food on the 7th floor, it might have been better, but even then, after eating only this for a number of days, it was looking boring. However, even this kind of food, considering our money, would probably end in a few more trips to the store. That sound is noisy. Huh? What's this all of a sudden? The sound of the car. It's gotten louder than before. Now that you say it, it really has. Most likely the cause of that was the time we fell from the pachinko parlor a few days ago where the muffler was hit. I hadn't been worrying about it, but certainly the sound of the car had gotten a bit louder. Well, it probably wasn't going to get in the way of driving. And before that, the problem right before us was gasoline. The meter had been pointing at empty, and we'd been running like that for 5 minutes. And our money right now amounted to 900 yen. With that, unlike last time, it was clearly not enough. If we totally ran out of gas, then there would probably be nothing we could do. Making a decision, I pulled into a gas station, and moreover looked for a self-service station. Soon I found one and pulled the car to a stop at the closest pump out of the many lined up. I'll get some gas. I see. But don't get out of the car. There was no reply, however she probably also understood what that meant. Opening the car's gas cap, I put in the gasoline by imitating others. In the area was one other customer, and in the back was a building with vending machines. I could also see someone that looked like a clerk. Most likely that was where one paid the bill. Looking at the explanatory plate on the wall, it seemed that after filling up, one would take the receipt over there. In that case, we could just drive off and run away. Yeah, that seems really dumb. While looking around with the quiet gas station, that's what I felt. 23, 24, 25, 26. The numbers on the meter showing the amount of gas pumped. Unlike before, I thought I was going very slowly. I felt very irritated while waiting for the tank to fill. And then, passing 40 liters just when the tank was about to fill. Welcome! The clerk that seemed to be a part-timer that had been in the building up until now, for some reason, ran over here. Ashtray, tire pressure, are they all fine? Yeah, they're fine. I see, it's cold, so please be careful. And perhaps intended to be a service, the clerk started cleaning the windows. As that was happening, the pump announced the tank was full, and with a businesslike sound, spat out the receipt. Please make your payment over there. Pausing from washing the windows, the clerk pointed to the building from before. Silently, I held the receipt. Unable to think of what to do, I wound up standing still. Is something the matter, sir? No, nothing. Okay, we are a guy. I was kind of in my head thinking that we were a guy. Especially since she doesn't want to change in front of us and stuff like that. It would make the most sense. For the moment, I went back inside the car. And then I just started up just the engine. What should I do now? That part-time clerk was starting to clean the rear window now. Right now, if I just slammed on the accelerator. However, without a doubt, the license plate would be noted down. If there were an investigation, we would have easily been caught. However, in order to run here, I made a decision and firmly stepped on the clutch. Then, as I was switching out of neutral gear and into second, here. Suddenly, the girl took out an envelope. From inside that, she took out a 10,000 yen bill and handed it to me. You were hiding money! Rude. You had money? And I had been convinced she had none. If that were the case, I wouldn't have had to go through all that trouble up to now. Why didn't you say anything? Did you ask? No, that's because I wasn't asked. With just that answer, once again, as usual, she faced the window. Once again, the coupe ran on. For now, we had a full tank of gas. Moreover, I had received a 5,000 yen bill as her change. But for me, I was more interested about what happened just before. Hey, see you... Here, this is all of it. Huh? Before I could speak, the girl offered me the envelope from before, just like that. It's okay if I use this? It doesn't matter. You can. Looking inside the envelope I received, there were still 4 $10,000 bills. Nice! With that, we'd probably be fine for a while. However, now I was more concerned about something else. Why did the girl have so much money? At the least, a few thousand yen that I found from the start was just what I'd been carrying when we left. However, in the girl's case, I felt like she had been prepared in advance. Hey, before you said that you didn't like the 7th floor, right? I also didn't want home. I'm the same way. Then, you were planning on going somewhere? This is the money for that purpose, isn't it? Then I remembered the girl's words from before. She had said that she would go somewhere while she was still able to move on her own, asked me whether I wanted to stop her or I wanted to go with her. Then you really did have some place you wanted to go to? Not particularly. I can't understand if you say not particularly. There is no place. Just that, looking lonely, she sadly murmured. Then she was without a destination, but still picturing someday in the future, simply preparing for it all this time alone. I was concerned why she'd been going through such an empty thing, but I sensed the girl's lonely profile was confirming that. Then, what about you? Even me? Not particularly. Don't imitate me. I'm not imitating you. We continued driving without a question. Or without a destination. Without a destination. I, who had impulsively flew from the 7th floor, and the girl who didn't have a place to go, but hollowly only continued to prepare. However, right now it doesn't matter where, I just want to go somewhere. At the least, for me, I wanted to do something to give me direction. Well, how about that Abujishima that we talked about before? With the money we have now, it's definitely enough to go. I was sure that any place would have been fine, even the 7th floor, even someplace not home, as long as we could continue going. However, I just didn't want to wander around aimlessly. I think I wanted a goal. It didn't matter what. Don't you think about wanting to go too? Not particularly. With just that answer, once again, she turned her gaze out the window like she usually did. As always, her eyes seemed to be looking at something far away. Just what on earth is she looking at, I wonder? What was she thinking? What was she expecting when she came here, I wonder? Oh, chapter 5. Alright, that's where we're going to end it today, guys. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Narcissu. It's getting really good. The story is very compelling. I don't know what our character's name is. We'll just call him Evillan for now. But Evillan seems to be taking most of the control. But it seems like Setsuna has been planning this for a long time, just never really having the opportunity to, or maybe not even the guts to go out and continue on. Because she's gone to the bus station a couple times and she's been caught sneaking out and she's been told that it upsets people. So she's been out multiple times by now, but she hasn't necessarily run away yet. So now they're actually running away. They've been away for 3 days, which is crazy. I don't know how many days of medicines they were able to collect, but they can't continue on much longer. So I think we're getting towards the end of this chapter? No, I don't know what to call it. This game. Of course, Narcissu is broken up into multiple games. So we'll have plenty to play next time. So join me on Friday for that, guys. We'll be playing more Narcissu and getting more into the story. I'm really interested in it. It's a really beautiful story. The music is beautiful on top of it, and I love when I click continue and like a new line pops up and then the music starts up like right away. It's so pretty. It's so timed well. It's so good. It's very, very interesting. So let's just save. Oops, did I save? I don't know if this is saved or not. We might have to start the chapter and then save. So we'll just start off this chapter. I like looking at maps. Save. Saved. Okay. Perfect. And that's going to be that for today. So thanks for joining me, guys. Come join us on Tuesday. We started playing Cyberpunk 2077, and it's pretty good. I'm having a little bit of fun with it. Driving around was a disaster, and if you watched last stream, then you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched last stream, wait a couple more weeks, and that video, the first video of Cyberpunk, will be up on the VODs channel, so you can go check it out there. But yeah, driving has been terrible. I heard that it got an update, so I'll have to update it. But I heard that they added a taxi system, so you don't have to pull out your car all the time. They added like a cinematic driving experience where it just drives to your location by itself. and you don't have to really do anything, and it's very cinematic driving around Night City. So I'm looking forward to that because driving was really not what I was expecting from this game, and I didn't really like the idea of having to do a lot of driving. So I'm glad they added an automatic driving feature because I think that'll be very helpful for me at least. But yeah, join us on Tuesday for that. We've been playing Cyberpunk 2077. We just got into it last week. We'll be getting into it next week, so get excited for that. And then join us on Thursday for another sad game, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. We've been playing it for the last few weeks. The first few episodes are up on the VODs channel if you're interested. But yeah, things have been getting really sad. Not nearly as sad as this game, but it's getting pretty sad. So there's stuff happening with like Mael and Russo, and we talked to SK, and he had like things to say about Mael, and it was just very interesting. There's more going on to it than I expected, and I think this game is going to have a really amazing ending, so I hope you guys stick around for that. We're not close to the ending, but I can feel it's going to be a very, very good game, so join us for that on the streams. Again, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and if you miss a stream, you can go to the VODs channel, youtube.com/@princessevillanvods, and check out what's on the VODs channel. I post new VODs every Saturday, so stay tuned for that tomorrow. There'll be a new week of VODs to check out. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys had fun with this game. I'm gonna continue playing it even though it's very sad, and we'll just see how it goes from there. But yeah, thanks for joining me today, guys. I love you. I'll see you all later. See you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Bye-bye.